Hey there, welcome to day 26 of our Get Up and Go February 2021 30 plus day challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. This is my little angel. We're going to be talking about our spiritual soap today. I got my little card instead of my fading bar of soap. Our soap framework today involves our discussion of the spiritual aspects of us as human beings. It can include whatever you consider spiritual. Some people are very religious, so your religion is part of your spiritual being. Your spiritual you, the big you that connected you to everything else in the universe, whatever religion, whatever your beliefs are, whatever is inside of you, your soul, your being, your big you, however you describe it, however you see it, however you have learned to see it and understand your spiritual essence. At this point of human development, I think we all realize that there's the person we are showing up in the world, our physical being, the way we look, the color of our hair, our skin, our nails, our teeth, how tall we are. That's our physical being, our physical, who we are. But in addition to that, inside of each and every one of us is our soul, our thinking, our feeling, our another part or component of us, which is super hard to describe. I call it me and then big me, or my being in all capital letters. Who am I really on the inside? So I think there's a spiritual essence to each and every one of us. I don't know what you believe. It's totally up to you. But whatever you believe, whether you believe in religion or a higher power or not, there is a component to each and every one of us that it's like the light within us that is what's inside of us already that I'm talking about when we think of our spiritual soap and our spiritual well-being. So, of course, the S in our soap is what's the story, what's the situation, what and how do you personally see and feel about your current situation, your current level of spirituality, your current level of connectedness to other people and other human beings, other living beings on the planet. Do you feel connected or do you feel disconnected? Do you believe in a higher power? Do you believe that this life is the only one we get? This is it. I'm here, I'm born, I live my life, I die. That's all there is. Or do you believe that do you believe in things like reincarnation or coming around again, or that your soul lives forever, or that it's infinite? I personally ascribe to the belief that we are infinite beings here having our life experience, and that suits me. That's the belief I've come upon over years and years and years of experiences and studying, and I might have a slightly different perspective because of the whole dying thing, but and I absolutely do. I have a totally different spiritual perspective and understanding after my sudden cardiac arrest than before my sudden cardiac arrest. But all of us have experiences that change our views on everything in the world, including our sense of beingness and our sense of our soul and what's inside of us versus what's outside of us. So our tool today, I might as well pop that off right in the beginning, is meditation. Thinking about or quietly being present with our spiritual sense, our source. What's the source of power? The source of what is your source of energy and power and understanding and connectedness? So what is your current story? What is your current situation? How do you think? How do you feel? How do you believe? What thoughts do you have? And, again, we're combining all of us because all of us makes up who we are, our total being, and our soul is a part of that. What is your story right now? And then what do you want it to be? How and on a spiritual development level, give yourself a rating. Where am I? And we did this early on in the challenge. Where do you feel that you are on a scale of 1 to 10? And I'm actually going to find my book, and I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to go back and look at my pages and see what I said and what a priority it was. Spiritual for me was not in my top 3. It was actually my 7th. When I gave it in priority order, it was my 7th. I find that interesting. And how I rated it was a 6. It was a 6. And what do I want it to be? Do I want to be a spiritual guru in any, or leader in any definition of the word? No. But do I want to continually improve and understand myself better and understand who I am and how I fit in the overall scheme of human development? Do I want to understand why I am here? Yes. But do I want it to be a 10, a 9, or a 10? Probably not. So to me, a 6 is obviously feeling pretty good about my spiritual development, my sense of development, and I knew I was going to hit that alarm. Sorry. And where I am and where I fit in the world and how I feel about that. It's always how I feel about that. If I'm okay with my current situation, I'll continually improve and make little steps to move me forward in my development in that area and aspect of my life. But if it isn't a pressing area, if it isn't something that I'm feeling a loss or a disconnect in, I won't give it a ton of time and attention. However, I do meditate every day. So let's look at what are our options? So here's where we are, here's where we want to be. And our rest of the SOAP framework is designed to fill that gap. Now, again, I like to use the 10 and 3. Come up with at least 10 possible ways to get you from where you are moving toward where you want to be. And brainstorm, or just make a list, or think on it throughout the day. We've used a couple of different strategies and ways of doing that. We use the, talk to your imaginary friend, talk to a friend, get other ideas, study and research and Google and look into what have other people done to spiritually develop, or to develop their curiosity or their interest in their spiritual or soul aspects of themselves. And do I want to do that? Are there things that I'm curious about? How could I do that? Then what action can you take? What action can I take based on finding out where I am, being really honest with myself, and where I want to be? And there's always a gap there, right? We're never done. As human beings and as people living on the planet, our life experience is to continually improve, evolve, and grow. So we're never finished with that. We're not going to be done. We're not going to be perfect the day that we expire or pass away. We're going to strive for it, but none of us will ever be perfect. So if that's your idea of what you're striving for, you're going to struggle. But I say if you adopt a continually improving and always becoming a better version of myself, always becoming better me, then I'm not comparing myself to other people ever. I'm not comparing myself to some bizarre standard that I made up in my head or some definition of perfection that I can never achieve, because then I never get to appreciate and be grateful for, gratitude yesterday, what I've got now and what I'm experiencing now. And I'm never really living in the present moment and experiencing now. So what are those possibilities? And then I can meditate, and to me, meditation is focused attention and thought or breathing that allows ideas and wisdom and thoughts and things to bubble up from my subconscious, or to come to me from wherever, because there's different understandings on where things come from. I love the idea of the universal mind, where we believe that we're all connected. And so if we're thinking and we're feeling and we've got a problem, the solution's out there if we let it come to us from wherever it comes from, the ether, right? So we have to take an action. What action are we going to take? And then we want to create, once we see if that action is making progress and moving us toward what we want to create processes and systems and procedures and little habits that will continually move us automatically toward what we want, which to me is a better understanding of myself, my what makes me tick, my spiritual connectedness to everything else in the world and on the planet. And what am I going to do about that, and how am I going to make that a habit? Well, I said I meditate every day for at least 15 minutes a day. In the morning and in the evening, I practice gratitude. Plus, throughout the day, when I remember to be grateful and be present and be thankful for things. But this is actually an area where I haven't done a ton of work. I did some after my cardiac arrest, but I haven't really spent a lot of time and energy understanding what makes me tick, or my spirituality, or my being, my insides, what's really inside of me and is important to me. And so one thing I'm doing this year, every day, is a 365-day challenge to do one thing every day that centers me, centers you. From this little journal book, do one thing every day that centers you. And so far, today was day 57. We're already to day 57 in the year. Isn't that crazy? Was about our talents develop in quiet places, and our character develops in full current human life, interaction in our life. So our talents, what we're good at, what we're here for, we develop how we understand ourselves and our spiritual nature, what's inside of us. We develop that, and we understand that, and we get to know that, and we realize it, and it comes to us in quiet times and quiet places. How many people practice things without other people around? Have you ever practiced a speech or a talk or a presentation in front of the mirror? Practice with yourself, but not in front of other people before you have to actually deliver that presentation or that speech. I used to do that in corporate America all the time. I learned it from my dad. I remember growing up, my dad worked at 3M and he had to do presentations all the time. And he would practice them at home. You know, we kids might be around, but he would practice before he delivered those presentations. They didn't have teleprompters and things like they do for the politicians and presidents nowadays, where they can just be reading their speeches off the big board. Same at live events and webinars and seminars. They don't have your presentations, you know, and your notes there so you can read them off as if you're talking to the audience. You just had to figure it out. So how did you do that? You practiced. So I wanted to get to know myself better, and I've done a series of these 365-day challenges, and I found that they're really powerful because it's a teeny little thing every day that I wouldn't normally think about, because it's not. And here's the interesting thing about this. Would it actually be more effective and more powerful if I came up with my own thing every day to get to know myself better, my own spiritual thing, my own centering thing? Probably. But since I don't even know enough about what centers me or how to center myself, this is a great tool to use, because it gives me ideas and things that are outside of my experience that I never would have even thought of. Plus, the people that wrote this book, guess what? They did a whole bunch of research on a whole bunch of people to find out what works for a lot of people in terms of thinking and understanding themselves better and centering themselves. So to me, it's a great place to start as I'm moving in my journey. And it's pretty painless. In less than a minute or two a day, I have an activity and I do it and I think about it and I do the homework. You can see I do it in my book, right along with the people that are doing the challenge. But it's a great way to make sure that I'm continually developing, continually moving toward my spiritual beliefs, because I think understanding what centers me is part of my spiritual beliefs. So that's just an example from my personal life of what I'm doing and how I do it and how I apply the SOAP framework in this spiritual area and aspect of my life. So our action item today is just to share, how did the SOAP framework go for you? Did you find it helpful and beneficial? Did you find or have an aha moment? Or were there any hiccups in the framework? Did you struggle with something? Is there a piece of the framework that you're struggling with? Early on, I discovered that I was having a hard time just being truthful and honest with myself. I was still living in the other people's beliefs and should this is how I should be. Therefore, I was trying to justify getting to a current position or a current story that other people expected of me, but I wasn't necessarily 100% sold on. It didn't, for some reason, feel right or intuitively sit right with me, but I was going for it. And so as I was trying to convince myself, well, here's my story and here's what it should be, whenever I'm saying should, it's not what I think it should be, it's what other people think it should be. So I had to take should out of my personal vocabulary so that I could be really honest with myself when it comes to my story. Because if I'm not really saying, okay, this is how it is right now, this area of my aspect of my life, this is what my story really is, not what I wish it is, because that's what my desired state's for. What is really going on with me in this area and aspect of my life right now? And it might be nothing. Heck, with COVID, most people aren't, even people that attended Mass every Sunday, most people aren't having the connection and the things that they get from religious practices and from services. They're not getting that sense of belonging and community and connectedness during COVID. And so we need to be honest. Hey, I usually go to church every Sunday and I'm really feeling a loss because I can't go connect with the people that I know support and love and care about me and that I'm connected to on a deeper spiritual level due to COVID-19. Well, what do you want? I want it back to, we got to get together. So how am I going to help bridge that gap? Because there are things that we can do. My sister is part of a Bible study course and she absolutely loves it. Are they meeting through Zoom meetings and things now? And it's not exactly the same, but sometimes, one or two of them will still get together and have coffee and they're being safe, or they'll, go and have a quick snack at a tea shop or a bakery or something, but it's not the same. And so being really honest with where you are, what the situation is, how you're feeling about it. That's why I like the who, what, where, when, why, and how for story, because it makes me ask myself all those questions and honestly answer them, not try to fool myself. Because guess what? We can fool other people most of the time. We can fool some people all of the time. We can fool, many people often, but we can never, ever, ever lie to or fool ourselves. We might think we can. We might think we can lie to ourselves, and if we keep telling ourselves something over and over again enough, we'll start to believe it, but that doesn't mean it's what's really going on with us. So that would be an example of share the SOAP framework, and then something that is working for you or isn't working for you, and that's one that totally wasn't working for me, and I've had to actually work pretty hard on, hey, what's really going on, and I've found tools that help me extract that from my being and from my myself, and let my ego shut down and say, okay, yeah, your ego wants to say that it's that way, but it's really this way, My ego physically wants to say I'm in awesome shape, but my physical appearance, the scale and the mirror say, not so much. COVID's been hard on you. So we have to be honest with ourselves again, and that'll get us the results we want. We can't become the best version of ourselves if we're not figuring out, well, where am I now, and where and how, what does even the best version of myself look like? All right, enough ranting. Have an amazing day. Any questions, anything I can help you with, ask in the comments below or direct message me. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow for day 27 of our Get Up and Go challenge. Get up, go do this, and see how awesome it makes you feel. Some of these things are areas and aspects of our life that we never really consciously consider, and I think that's the power of the challenge. Have an amazing day. Catch you tomorrow. Bye.